Good evening, salutations, and hello everybody. Hell's Unicorn here once again, and as you can see, I'm in a pretty damn good mood today. And the reason for that is because I actually just had, I think, possibly the biggest laugh of my life. And I figured I'd share it with all of you just so you could kind of get an idea of what the joke is, and believe me, it's a joke. I provided a link for this little article in the description. It was actually doodled up yesterday, probably via stream of consciousness, given how disjointed and odd it is. But it was nonetheless penned by a particular fellow who writes for the website truthout.org, a bastion of probably the most ridiculous neoliberalism out there today. And this article was actually penned by, his name in particular, Justin Krebs. I am prognosticating that he must have been dropped on his head several times by his mother when he was an infant, because that's the only way I can explain what he just wrote here. This is titled, Celebrate the 4th of July Liberally. Now, speaking for myself, celebrating the 4th of July liberally would probably consist of me throwing back a dozen beers or so, smacking a good-looking woman on the backside and saying, hey, you're hot stuff, and then proceeding to get my butt kicked all over the place and then having a laugh about it later. But he's got a little bit of a different definition, and let me just get into the more salient parts of the article because it's actually pretty long. Let's start with the first paragraph here. As we prepare to enjoy barbecues and watch fireworks this 4th of July, there's no reason to leave liberal politics at the door. Independence Day is a holiday today's American liberals should embrace. It is an opportunity to highlight what's best in America by promoting the progressive values that animate our country. It is time to celebrate liberally. Roughly translated, what this basically means is that it's a time for people like Mr. Krebs here to do what they always do, and that is ruin festive occasions by bringing politics to the dinner table. And usually what ensues afterwards are some choice words and hard feelings on all sides, basically. Personally, when I go to the dinner table, I have a little rule that I follow, and that is no political discussion. All right, because we don't want wine glasses being thrown or beer bottles being busted over each other's heads or all the other ugly stuff that usually comes along with our insane political paradigm and all of the fruitless debates that usually occur within it. But moving on. What is celebrating liberally? The definition emerges. It is part of living liberally. Confirmed my point. The idea that we extend our political beliefs into our everyday life. When you work and play, learn and spend, you can do so as a liberal. You can seek out and promote equality. I guess that would translate into insisting that at the hot dog eating contest that everybody eat the exact same number so we don't have any winners or losers. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. You can talk about diversity and inclusion. Well, conservatives do that too. They've got their token black friends at their various parties as well. You can act with a concern for common resources and a commitment to the common good. Oh, I just love doing those things while pounding down a couple burgers and a couple of brews and joking with my friends in probably the most anti-feministic of ways possible. This is good stuff. You can embrace free speech. Ooh. When I exercise free speech, believe me, people like this don't like it. Creativity and joy. Well, those two I kind of agree with. In doing all this, you are living liberally. The plot thickens. Living Liberally is also the national network of progressive social gatherings, best known for 300 plus drinking liberally happy hours that I helped start 7 years ago. Well, that explains how he came up with this stuff. Drinking a good amount and basically saying whatever pops into his relatively not so full head, so to speak. Our chapters of drinking liberally, screening liberally, and eating liberally around the country have taught me new ways of work liberally, learn liberally, and even celebrate liberally. We're just doing everything liberally these days. Maybe I can kind of, sit in my chair liberally, or maybe watch a bloodletting sporting event liberally. All right. Which brings us to our nation's birthday, a holiday greedily seized by the Tea Party right-wing radicals. However, this is not their day. Let's find out why. Liberals have as much right to the symbolism of the 4th of July as anyone. As we wave the American flag, we know we are signaling our support for a separation of church and state, which, by the way, not all of the founders were really on board with. That was something that the Baptists came up with and the deists kind of grabbed onto. Personally, I think there's a difference between a separation of church and state and distinction between church and state, and I tend to think more along the lines of the latter rather than the formula. So I guess 4th of July is just not the holiday for me. Very inclusive of you guys.